Then you make your project and also
activities for the salvation of the environment. It's the first aim, and the other aim is creating English. Now they have been studying English for 8 years, and you will see how they know it. Now you understand that we're going to speak about ecological problems in your native language, which is a foreign one for us, and perhaps there will be some linguistic problems, and we beg you to excuse our faults if there are any. All right, now let's begin from the very beginning. Now, I'd like some of my pupils to say some words about the importance of the problem. I'd like you to emphasize the idea that the problem is so important that it is worth being discussed. Now, who wants it? But don't be dead silent. I want you to be active. Now, please, pardon, who will start, please? Will you say something?
Yes, of course. I'd like to begin.
All right.
We can see that the mass media flood us with lots of information about the pollution, about the degradation of the environment. And the thing is that the contradictions between man and nature are acquiring an increasingly dramatic character. As one of the newspapers says, humanity is conducting an enormous, unintended global pervasive experiment whose ultimate consequences could be second only to a global nuclear war.
Has nature any laws? Must we
Yes.
take them into consideration?
The trouble is that people sometimes forget that nature has its own laws, and these laws can punish those who harm our natural heritage, those who destroy it.
All right, that will stop. Let me stop here. All right, so you mentioned a statement we came across in one of British newspapers that there are contradictions between man and nature. I'd like you to develop the idea and to prove there are contradictions. Now, who will? Now, will you see, please?
Yes, there are some contradictions between man and nature. And on the one hand, man is a part of nature, and man must make up one whole with nature. So nature gives man everything he needs: food to eat, water to drink, air to breathe, fuel to heat their homes and to run the machines. But on the other hand, in the 20th century, people have begun their pervasive activities against nature. So they can...
What about the scientific experiments?
Sometimes their scientific experiments are disasters for nature. And that's why we can say that the conflict between man and nature is deepening from year to year. And the ultimate consequences of these relations may be catastrophic for humanity.
Yes.
And that's where
That's where we are. We are where we are. That's it. All right. Now, so we see that the relations between man and nature are dramatic. Because people ignore the laws of nature. Because people are exploiting nature's riches. And that's why the environment is being deteriorated. It's getting worse from year to year. And so we live in danger. There are a lot of dangers, and nobody knows what will happen to humanity in the 21st century. Now, I'd like you to enumerate first of all dangers we face. Now, all dangers that threaten our survival. Now, who will do it? Any volunteers? Please, where is my question, please?
Well, nowadays humanity faces very many dangers, and among them, the most terrible of them, of course, is a possible nuclear war, which can destroy the civilization in the whole on the Earth. Well, the second...
civilization, all right.
Well, from my opinion is that the second danger perhaps is a greenhouse effect. And the consequences of it...
No, you only enumerate that will develop it. Now, the greenhouse effect, the possible nuclear war, what else?
And at the end of the 20th century, there appeared a new danger, the depletion of ozone layer.
Yes, the depletion of ozone layer, what else?
Yes, one of the most dangerous
things is what?
Most dangerous things is the deforestation of the planet, the acid rains, the terrible diseases caused by perhaps
not only diseases but mutations. Terrible mutations caused by what?
By radiation and by increasing sun radiation.
Yes, and the increase of the sun radiation.
And the most acute problem perhaps is the overpopulation of the planet.
All right, maybe.
And it is very problematic how to avoid it.
How to avoid it, yes. No, well?
Yes. And the extinction of some precious species of plants and animals.
Oh, and now let us develop all of them. There are a lot of more, but we have no time to mention all of them. Perhaps we are not aware of all of them. We are not specialists, we are not scientists. So I'd like you to begin from the very beginning. Let us speak about the possibility of a nuclear war. You should prove that it is perhaps it's the most dangerous thing we face. Now, who will? Mike, will you please?
Okay. Certainly now, the possibility of nuclear war is not, maybe it's not very big, but still, there are some countries which are eager to carry them and to know the secret of atomic weapons. There is now quite enough weapons in the Earth.
There are quite enough weapons.
There are quite enough weapons on the Earth, so it is not necessary to have any more, I think. But some countries think vice versa. The danger of nuclear war is very great. Of course, if the nuclear weapons will explode at one time.
No, if all nuclear weapons are exploded at one time, that's it.
The Earth will be completely destroyed.
It will turn into space dust, right? Because there's too much.
And even the path of heat is quite enough to destroy everything alive on the Earth. Of course, the radiation affects harmfully on the plants, first of all, and on the people's and animals' health.
Okay. Now, enough. So we know that it's very dangerous. there are a lot of agreements, world agreements on the on what? By the way, you will develop. What agreements? What agreements have been signed now by many countries to stop the production of atomic weapons? First of all, to stop the nuclear tests.
Yes.
Why? What can you say about
There
nuclear
are
tests?
some agreements signed among the different countries.
Fine,
And
different countries, that's it.
one of the most important of them is the agreement of 1963, if I'm not mistaken, about the prohibition of nuclear tests in atmosphere, space, and in
Very important. And what countries now didn't sign it and still continue to test their
Some
nuclear
countries,
weapons?
such as France and China, are still continuing their experiments, and the test on the Murder is very well known.
So they neglect the world's opinion and continue their test. And now will you tell me which of all the countries possessing nuclear weapons is the most dangerous? We or America? Which country? Well,
Perhaps China is the
China, right. So
most
China is the most
country.
dangerous country in the world, that's it. Why? You don't know why.
It's hard to say why.
I think so, maybe.
What it is.
Yes, we all think. And now, in my opinion, China perhaps is unpredictable. Now, China may use its atomic weapon. All right, now another problem. Now, we will speak about the greenhouse effect. Who will? You want? Marisha, please. No, too many gentlemen. I'd like a lady.
The greenhouse effect threatens the world with an increase of temperatures on the Earth. The greenhouse effect is one of the global problems we face, and this problem could make human survival problematic in the next century. The cause is the use of some gases produced by human activities. And since the middle of the last century, the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere has increased by 25% as a result of burning coal, petrol, oil, and some natural gases to get the energy we need.
All the fossil fuels. That's
Yes,
it.
and the more carbon dioxide there is in the atmosphere, the warmer it becomes. And the consequence is the rise of an average global temperature, and the greenhouse effect can make the Arctic collapse of the world's ecosystems. And in other words, there might be a large-scale extinction of animals and plants on which human beings and other animals depend.
But what are the development here on melting now? As far as the global temperature is going up from year to year, now what will happen to the snows? The snow caps, the snow on the poles of the planet, what?
The ice caps will melt and turn into water, and this will flood the coastal areas and the, for example, rich farmland.
What is the lowest continent in the world? What continent will be the first to go down?
Eurasia.
Europe, first of all, Europe, yes. First of all, the coastal, you see, valleys of the continents, and
Yes.
Europe comes first.
Yes, Europe
Right,
comes
now,
first.
that's it. So, and any other dangers, no? Oh, that will do. All right, now, another problem. So you have spoken about greenhouse effects. I'd like you to speak about the ozone depletion. The problem of the depletion of the ozone. Oh, will you? Another lady. Elchka. You don't want. Now, please, try.
Ozone depletion is one of the acute problems. Acute problems in our time, like the problem of greenhouse effect, the problem of smoky cities, and some local problems. The bulk of the ozone in the Earth's atmosphere exists in the form of a layer between the altitudes of 10 and 50 kilometers. This layer protects everything alive on the Earth from the harmful influence of the ultraviolet radiation. And scientists raised an alarm when it was found that this layer is being depleted. And
Found out that when it was found out that the layer is being depleted,
this
well,
layer is being depleted, and what moreover, holes have appeared in it.
what size of hole? What size of hole exists and where?
There is a very large hole above,
A very large hole.
above the Antarctic.
Is it the only one?
No, above some other continents.
About which ones?
countries. Europe,
Europe, they say.
Russia,
Russia, yes.
America, Russia,
Right,
Australia.
about us. That's it. And
Australia.
Australia, right, your, is there a call about America? You don't know? When you come back, try to find out if there is. And if there is, don't stay in the sun for a long time. It's very dangerous, yes. Now, if there is a hole above you, keep away from the sunshine. All right, now please, and
So far, it isn't clear why this happens, but we know for sure that annually, Newfound produces about 1 million, 1.2
1.2 million tons of what?
of zone-destroying gases.
Yes,
That was widely used in aerosol refrigeration systems, then air conditioners, and in production of electronics.
Right, yeah. So, imagine. Now, please, as ladies like to use airsols. Yes, ladies, all ladies. Diana, the Princess of England, was the first to erupt the idea of using airsols. Do you know this? No? Very curious fact. All right, and now tell me, please, why? Now, the first large hole the size of North America, the size of the North American continent, appeared above the pole. Not in any other place, but above the pole. What's your opinion?
Well, it is found out by scientists that above the poles, the ozone layer is much thinner than in other parts of the atmosphere.
Not only the ozone layer, but the atmosphere is much
The
thinner.
atmosphere
above the
itself
poles,
is much
that's it.
thinner. That is why the probability of appearing holes just there is much more than in other
That's
parts.
quite correct. And now I'd like to speak about the problem of smoky towers and acid rains. And very, by the by, and don't forget to mention Saratov. It comes first among the list of unfavorable cities for living. Now, who wants it? Europe, please, Sinchka. You're welcome.
I'd like to speak about one of the most acute problems now, the smoky cities. The World Health Organization studied two things: the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, and which is smoke and soot, and the amount of sulfur dioxide, which falls down to the earth in the form of acid rain. And it was found out that the smokiest cities are Milan, Tehran, Tehran, Delhi, Calcutta, Prague, Santiago, and I should add Saratov to this
Yes, it comes.
list.
It should be added to this list. That's it. And even what towns in England which seem to be quite favorable? Which ones? Glasgow in winter and in
Glasgow
England,
and Helsinki.
Helsinki. Now everybody thinks that Helsinki is one of the best places to live in, but in winter it was enrolled in the list of unfavorable cities for living. All right. So, and what happens now? What is the effect of acid rain?
Effect of acid rain.
How does it influence?
The acid rain produces a very harmful effect. Many rivers, lakes are polluted, and the crops and useful farmlands are
Damage.
damaged.
Yes, damage. Okay. Now,
I wanted to say about the problem of automobiles.
Oh, do you please develop? Maybe. Yes.
Of course, a lot of
People have automobiles.
a lot of people have automobiles, and
Cars. We say not automobiles, but cars. We say cars.
so that automobiles,
Automobile plant, but cars. All right.
but they produce many soot, smoke.
Much soot? Much soot? No. Car exhaust. Some gas. Some mixture.
Car
Yes,
exhaust.
That's it.
And some years ago, people wanted to have electromobiles, but now it is found out that the electromobiles are still more dangerous than ordinary automobiles.
That's it.
Scientists found out that the amount of
What?
lead
Lead.
evaporations.
Lead. Now lead evaporations. That's it.
The amount of lead evaporation which is thrown in the atmosphere by the electromobiles is very high, and it produces
and many animals lose their habitual places of inhabitants, and that is why practical animals have no place to live.
And what about the composition of our atmosphere, of our air we breathe now,
And
as a result
also-
of the deforestation now? Well,
Air is polluted now, and many plants couldn't survive in this.
Tanya, but what about the oxygen and about carbon dioxide in the air as a result of deforestation? What happens to this and to that?
As a result of deforestation, deforestation, the amount of the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere is getting
Increases.
increases,
And what happens to the oxygen?
and the oxygen decreases.
The amount of oxygen now decreases. That's one problem. Then, what happens to many valuable animals now? What happened to them? And still is happening to them now.
Many animals are exterminated. For example, thousands of elephants were killed in Africa. The buffaloes were
In
killed
rush for what?
in the rush for ivory,
Right, yeah.
which is very expensive. And also crocodiles were killed for their skin, which is used in the tannery industry.
That's it.
And even now, the belts, handbags, and the shoes for the ladies from the crocodile skin are very expensive.
Right, yeah.
And also the buffaloes, which used to roam in South America.
So, in the Great Plains of North America, millions of them, millions.
Yes, in the North America, are killed for
North America, no.
North America are killed for their hides and
Oh, no,
horns.
they're no longer killed. Okay. They're no longer killed.
They were
They
killed.
in the Great
They were
Plains.
killed for their hides and horns, and now
And even not only for hides and horns, but for what else?
even for sport.
Yes. Now, sorry, perhaps it's harmful to you, but we've read an article in which tells us a very sad story that when the transcontinental railway was built across the continent, the white people killed buffaloes for fun, for sport, from the windows of their trains. It's tragic, of course. Now, and how many are there?
Now there remain about 500,000 buffaloes, and only in game reserves.
All right, now what are the problems now for my men? So greenhouse effect, now then what?
Well, there is the problem of ROC.
Oh yes, the problem of the rivers and seas. Who wants to develop? Now, will you? Please.
The gradual disappearance of the RSC is one of our greatest problems today.
International tragedy. Our
I
national
think it is not only national tragedy, but it is
our tragedy. Well, it's our ecological tragedy. All right, I'm wrong. Sorry.
its level now is 11 meters lower than it used to be. According to some forecasts, it will entirely disappear by 2010.
So, in how many years? Will the RSC disappear? In 13 years it will disappear from the now Earth. That's it.
The cause is extensive solar use of water.
By who?
The irrigated area in the Suez Basin that was used for growing cotton has swallowed the waters of the Alps.
Irrigation systems have swallowed.
Moreover, the evaporations of the rotten sea are very poisonous, and people who live on the seacoast suffer many diseases.
Yes, and first of all, it affects what? The childbirth. Yes, it's a tragedy because you can't children in this area. Something is wrong with the air, with the environment. All right. Dasha, and who will develop the idea of the problem of the rivers? Who wants to speak? Will you, Dasha? Or maybe somebody else will? No, Maxine, please develop the idea.
The problem is
Oh, no,
that,
you need
no.
no, just standing,
The
all right?
problem is that there are a lot of hydroelectric power
Hydropower
stations,
stations, that's what we say, hydropower stations.
which are used to be
We know.
built on the
Maxine, we know what they're used for. I'd like you to say how the construction of hydropower stations affected the environment or affected the flora and fauna in the area. Speak about the problem of water. Let's take the water. It's
there
so
are
beautiful,
a lot
so
of
large.
hydropower stations on the Volga River, and
seas. We call them seas. They're pools. Seas were created. That's it. Now, and what happened to the fish?
The fish couldn't achieve their
Spawning ground.
their spawning ground.
Yes, traditional spawning grounds. Fish doesn't know ground ways. No, fish knows the right way, right at the bottom of the sea, and fish stops at the dikes and hatches. Well, so now, and we can speak about
there is a very interesting fact that in Volga, the level of the water at the beginning of the river is lower than the level of the water at the end of the river.
Yeah, no, vice
Yes,
versa. Oh, yeah, yes, right. No, vice versa.
No,
In the mouth of Volga, it is higher than.
There was a meeting in Montreal, Canada, where the International Protocol for the Protection of the Ozone Layer was signed by 35 or 36 countries. I don't remember now. This protocol, the goal of this protocol is to reduce the production of the ozone-destroying substances by 50% in the course of next 10 years. And so it is the protocol started.
What was its importance? Was it the first international agreement?
It was, they say it is the first, it was the first international agreement that touches the problem of environment on a global scale.
Yes. When was it signed?
In 1987.
87, yes. Another document which was signed now.
Another document was signed in 1989 in Toronto. And this document is called Implications for Global Security. At the meeting in Toronto, there were 330 scientists.
Yes, so many, 330 scientists took part in the meeting in Toronto, that's it.
From 46 countries, 15 international organizations, and 47 ecological groups. This meeting was helped by the UN Ecological Program and the World Meteorological Organization. And
what was the decision? What was the resolution of the meeting?
The resolution of this meeting was that we must find some new sources of energy.
New sources. The problem was the invention of new sources of energy.
Such as, for example, combined heat power stations. And the goal is to reduce
the burning of
fossil fuels.
Yes, considerably. To reduce the burning of fossil fuel considerably. And now I'd like all of you to mention all the organizations you know that take part in the salvation of the environment. All of them you know. You don't know all of them, of course, but you know, please. What organization do you know? What comes first?
The UN.
The UN, UNESCO, then?
Meteorological.
Greenpeace, then?
Meteorological.
The World Meteorological Organization, and what else? The World Health Organization, yes. And a lot of environmental groups, well, yes, a lot of them, a lot. We don't know all of them. Sorry, but we don't know all of them. Now, perhaps you know more. But there are a lot of them. And all of them try to contribute something to the salvation of the environment. Now, your ideas of how the world could be saved. What must be done first? The elementary things that must be done to stop the pollution. Please, Alan.
Well, the first thing people must do, they should think hard how to invent.
Yes, think hard. That's right.
Yes.
They should think hard then.
They should think hard how to invent new methods of how to use the energy of the sun, how to use the energy of the wind, of the tidal wave, hydroelectric power. So people must extremely worry about new sources of energy.
They have to think hard and invent new sources of energy. Yes. Now they find another way to improve what?
Industrial enterprises should install some purifying systems and introduce low-waste technologies.
Low-waste technologies, yes.
People should think hard how to eliminate all radioactive waste and to stop to begin protection of the atmosphere.
Children, is it easy to eliminate all the radioactive waste. Radioactive waste, poisonous. Now, is it easy, Mike?
No, it sounds easy. It takes a lot of time in nature to destroy this
And
radioactive
it
elements.
takes a lot of time, money, and effort. That's it.
So it is a very difficult problem, but very acute at the same time, because there are very many atomic power stations. So it is extremely necessary. So I can say it.
Can we feel now safe when we have a lot of radioactive elements buried in the ground?
Yes, we can feel, but if this ground is a special ground which is especially
some constructions
yes,
now,
some
underground must be built. That's it.
And
Now,
it is far from our home.
yes. Now, without any explosions, without any atomic war, now we have a lot of atomic power stations. Are they dangerous or not?
No, the modern power stations are not dangerous. They have very good safety systems.
Must be done. So new source of energy must be found. Purifying systems must be installed. Now low waste technology must be introduced. What else? And what about you? What must you do to stop the pollution, stop the degradation, stop the degradation of the environment? What must you do? That's what must you do, namely you namely. Spring is coming. Very soon you will be in beautiful green fields. And what will you do? You'll pick up a large bunch of flowers for your dear mommy. Now will you do it? No, never. Because you know what? The plants are disappearing from the earth, and you will never do it because now you are educated. You are no longer ignorant. That's it. For example, after the picnic, you take all the rubbish and throw it into our deep, deep Volga. Now, if our Volga dries for a moment, let's imagine, what will we see? We'll see the cemetery of dead metal. Cemetery, yes. A lot of constructions, a lot of bottles, a lot of cans. Now, will you do this? I suppose you won't. Now, look at this. Look at this. This is an Indian saying. This is an Indian saying. Maxim, will you read it, please? Do you want your glasses now?
No. Only when the last fish is caught, only when the last buffalo is killed. Is killed, only when the last river is polluted and the last tree felled.
Felled is chopped down, that's it.
Only then will mankind realize that we can't eat money.
Yes, a very interesting one, isn't it? So we can't eat money, we can eat whatever. Now we want but money. Now please, comment on this saying. Comment. Now, imagine I don't understand what it's about. Now please explain it to me. Masha, what's your opinion?
I think that the idea of this saying is like this, that man exploiting nature cares nothing but money.
Right, yeah. Man, yes, has nothing but money, right? Many people do. Then, what's your opinion?
I think that according to the Russian proverb, people do not value what they have, but they will be awfully sorry when they lose it.
Right, yeah. Well, we have nothing around, we'll be very sorry. Well, now please, Marish, do you know?
Well, I think that the meaning of this saying is like this, that man can't live without money, but he can't live on without nature.
Man can survive without
Yes.
money, but he can't live without nature. What's your opinion?
Well,
You have no opinion?
I have an opinion. And my opinion is that our living here in this world is impossible without exploiting nature. And exploiting nature is impossible without
Destroying.
without doing harm and
While being
destroying
destroyed,
it.
that's it.
So it's a very deep philosophical question, I would say. And
It's a philosophical question right there.
And I think
So
this
you mean
problem-
that we can't help destroy nature?
we can, but we should invent the new source of energy.
Now, first we must think about what to invent.
And
them.
without doing it,
Yes.
it's impossible to stop.
Before,
the
yes,
pollution.
before abolishing the last, you see, things we have in our disposal, we must think hard. Right, well. But now tell me please, any other opinion? Now please, Maxim.
I can't agree. This Indian saying, it was Greece saying, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. Some small nation, well, try it, no? You don't agree with
I
that?
don't agree with the others. I think the idea is not in the money, but in the man's moral values.
Mentality. Mentality.
Moral values.
Moral values, perhaps. The Indians were very particular about nature. They loved it so much, and they never destroyed it because they were sons of nature. They felt it so deeply. Well,
Yes, I agree with my friend. I think it was said too loud that people can survive without money, and that people can't do
too
this.
pathetic now. It's
Yes.
too pathetic to say that people can survive without money, but now perhaps they can't survive. And now, do we need money to improve the environment?
Right.
Do we need? Can we live without money? No, we can't, of course. But much money. Do we need much money to do something to help nature? Yes, lots, millions, billions. All right. Now, we got another.
I'm sorry, may I say two words?
Do, yeah.
Because it has just come to my mind that there's another aspect of this problem and concerning this saying. Well, the thing is that money of the world dictates what people should eat.
Maybe.
Well, because yes, we are thinking that we should eat meat and sausage and well everything which is made by factories, which is packed and which is expensive. Well,
It's our way now. We're
yes.
so short of time that we do it now.
Yes, and
Yes.
in this aspect, money dictates what you should eat, but very few people realize what we really must eat, that we must be vegetarians.
Yes, you are. It's your idea to be a vegetarian. But vegetarian means to devour nature. To devour nature, yes. Now to swallow nature. All right. Now this is problematic. Yes, of course. All right. Now please do.
I got a thing to say. I'm saying we all know money is important, and we all know, but when it comes down to the wire, what you gonna choose? Money or living or here?
That's it. That's it. Well, maybe you have your own opinion. Now, we'll share it with us. No, no, you don't want to do it. Now, please.
I was just thinking about when you said that any man live without money. I think it's much easier to live without money than without fish, buffaloes, and whatever is there.
Right, you are. Of course. Right. Now, but nobody wants to be primitive again. Nobody wants to do without money. We want money, but still. But we must spend some money on improvement, on restoration of nature. Now, nature is beautiful, enjoyable. We can't live without nature. Nature is nice. We are nature, too. Now, now your opinion, Max, do you have?
Maybe, but I think that the question is that if we have money, have much money.
No, leave money in peace. Now, what about the nature? What about nature? Now, well,
No, I don't know.
you don't know how to say it. All right. Now, Masha, your opinion?
And money, no, neither eatable nor edible.
I suppose if nature is destroyed, humanity will be married with all money. Yes, all money together with people. All right, thank you, my dear children, and thank you for your patience. All right.
I hope this environment is known to you, so here it is. And after all these lessons, we go on with our presentation. Now I hope it is high time to get acquainted. Well, now you begin with your presentation, and then, well, we go on.
My name is Jimmy Schultz. I speak real quickly, okay? So if I get to talking too fast and if you cannot keep up with me, then just raise your hand and I'll be glad to slow down, okay? We have 6 students from an area of Arkansas. I'd like to tell you just a little bit about our state, a little bit about our school, and a little bit about our project that we've done while we have been in the United States, and also what probably we're fixing to do while we're in the Serrata region. Arkansas, I'm sure maybe since we're going to show up here, you may have looked at Arkansas on the United States map. We are about 34 degrees north latitude. Serrata compared to the United States is similar to living in Minnesota or Wisconsin. So the environment as far as the plants, some of the animals, we're not accustomed to because we live in a lower latitude. The bordering states of Arkansas would be Texas. We're about 7 hours from Dallas. We border Missouri. The young man somewhere over here. Yes. He spent time in Missouri. Went to school there for a while. Tennessee. Elvis Presley. We talked about a minute ago. We're close to Oklahoma. Also Mississippi. So we're centrally located. We're only about probably 8 hours drive from the Gulf of Mexico. Our state is very full of many rivers. Many rivers. In Arkansas, we have many trees. When we left, we were in the middle of our spring. The middle of our springs. All the leaves are out. All the grass is green. Everything looks new. The climate in Arkansas, the average climate is going to be about 62 degrees. Fahrenheit, yes, Fahrenheit. 62 degrees Fahrenheit. The way we determine that is basically just go in a cave. If you go in a cave in your area, then the average seasonal temperature is going to be measured by the temperature in the cave. In the north, this for Arkansas, the northwestern part of our state is national forest. National forest. Are you familiar with a karst plain or karst topography? Most of the groundwater is underground. That gives us quite a few caves, underground streams. These are explored caves and unexplored caves. Most of the water we have on the surface is rainwater. The land is rocky. In other words, we don't have a lot of sediment. We don't have a lot of turbidity in our rivers in this part of the state because we don't have any sediments, very many sediments. Even when the rivers are swollen from heavy rains, the water is still fairly clear. Again, we have a lot of trees, a lot of small rivers, and so forth. As you go to the south, the central part of the state, we have rolling hills. Similar to Charlotte, but we still have trees. Charlotte region, I went out to the edge of Charlotte the other day to a small river. Charlotte looks very much like Oklahoma. A lot like Oklahoma. Also North Texas, Kansas, the hills, grasslands, very familiar to us because we travel in this area quite a bit. Let me see, is farmland. Some of the crops, soybeans. Familiar with soybeans? Soybeans, cotton, rice, a little corn, wheat. We have winter wheat. We have no summer wheat. All of our wheat is grown in the wintertime. In June, in about 8 weeks, we will harvest our wheat. Used to, the government would have restrictions on what we grow. Now we're able to grow just about all we would like to grow. Too long? Okay. Our school is about 1,500 people. About 1,500 in our school. 3 grades. 3 grades, okay? Courses taught in school as far as science goes. You can take a course called life science. You can take physics. You can take chemistry. You can take biology. Three classes of biology. AP biology, AP mathematics. This is called advanced placement, meaning that these students right here will take a test when they return to America, and if they pass the test, they get college credit. So they will enter college. Some of them with 12 hours of credit of college hours when they just start to college. The EcoBridge project, the one we're involved in right now. We had a project in Arkansas dealing with the Arkansas River. In Pine Bluff, we have 3 problems. Give me a time out in a minute if I get going too much, okay?
You want me to talk about that?
Okay, Sean talked about the nature of our city and why we felt it was necessary to have the project that we had. Okay, Sean.
I'm going to sit down. The Palm Bluff is kind of like Serrata. We've got a river runs right next to it, and we have industries and farmland that have runoff into the river. And our project was to test the quality of the water to see if they were putting harmful chemicals into the river. And we took several streams weaving into the river and tributaries from the industrial plants. And we tested the water, and we found out that only one factory was putting water back in that was potentially harmful to the river.
So in essence, we took an area of the river above Pine Bluff to below Pine Bluff. We took six or seven samples, and we tested them for 10 or 12 different things: dissolved oxygens, nitrates, phosphates, salinity. This morning, salinity was mentioned. Yeah, dissolved oxygens and so forth. And most everything is okay. We would like to see if it's okay now and where it is 3 or 4 years from now, and see if the data changes. If we start to get an increased amount of this or increased amount of that. Still no questions? Tony, if you would talk about just what your experience with Echo Bridge right now has been.
Well, like you said, we tested all the water and compared, but having the chance to come to another country has really been pretty neat. Russia and the United States have had their problems together, and now us coming together and seeing how another culture lives has been a good experience for me and for everyone else. And we really appreciate being able to come over here.
Ian? Thanks, Steve. Just about what you think of the Echo Bridge project.
I think the Echo Bridge project is very good because I've got to live in this world when I grow up, and I don't want it messed up.
Lena?
I like the Echo Bridge project. It has given me the opportunity to see the rest of the world. I know basically what America is like, but now, as being said, we're going to be living in this world. We just don't want to be one-sided where we only know what America is about. Now we know what America is like and what Russia is like, and we see that we're almost the same kind of people. The only thing different is basically the language, of course, and just different parts of society. And our moral ways and both ways are sort of different, sort of similar, but basically we're all the same people. And Echo Bridge has given us the opportunity to see the difference and the similarities of Americans and Russians.
Amber?
I think the Echo Bridge project is a great idea because my father's a farmer and he uses a lot of chemicals, and we farm right next to the river. And I was just wondering exactly how much farmers affect the water, so now I know. I can say, Daddy, you don't need to use that.
I think that Eco Bridge project has been really good because I guess we've always been like scared of you, and y'all probably scared of us. And with this, we can come over and break those boundaries, and we can break the stereotypes, and you can see what we're like, and we can see what y'all are like. And it's been really great because y'all have been really shown us about hospitality and been really generous to us, and we can kind of bond together and be friends now.
Anything particular other than the project, or?
There's some questions, or?
I know you guys.
You can ask the American students.
Yeah, talk to me, girl. What is it? About anything, I'll answer.
They're going to give a presentation about their project, and then maybe
they will speak.
Speak, sure, sure. Any questions about Arkansas or
yes,
America?
They will think a bit, and then after our presentation, they will speak.
What Sean said about the project, we have 2 paper mills. We have a factory that produces transformers. We have, as Amber put it, we have many acres of farmland. We use pesticides and herbicides, and it's something that we want to find out. We want to know what's in the water. Also, the geographic part of Saratov, and I've told this before. You have the mountain, the Yellow Hill. Is that? Yeah, the Yellow Hill. That's Saratov. We also, Pine Bluff, as the boats came up the Volga, they would see the Yellow Hill, and it would guide them. As the boats came up the Arkansas River, they would see the bluff of pine trees. And so it's really odd that we came to a city to where the two cities have so much in common. And it's really comforting to know that everyone has, it's everybody's problem. It's not America's problem, it's not Russia's problem. I mean, your kids are going to have to live through this. And if we can get the ball rolling, if we get the interest up, and we get started, and y'all take it, and I think the work that Echo-Bridge is doing is great work. I think it's good. And I'm proud to be part of it, and I'm proud to be right here, right now. It's a lot of fun. Okay, I'll shut my mouth. No?
Good job, dude. Thanks. So, сейчас я буду. Вас будут переводить? Will it translate? I'll translate the English. Yeah, I'll translate. Давайте я буду переводить вас.
Я немножко должен сказать
I want to say a few words
Саратовской области.
about Saratov Oblast. Я вас перевожу.
Переводите? Пожалуйста. Я. Я немножко должен рассказать ребятам из Арканзаса о наших экологических проблемах Саратовской области.
I should say a few words to our students from Arkansas about the environmental problems of Saratov region.
Саратовская область занимает несколько севернее свое положение, чем штат Арканзас.
But in terms of latitude, Saratov is more northerner than Arkansas.
И природные условия у нас во многом определяются тем, что юг Саратовской области ограничен высокими Кавказскими горами.
And a lot of our climate and our natural conditions are determined by the fact that we have the Caucasus below us, to the south, Caucasus Mountains.
А открытая часть площади свободно пропускает холодный ветер с севера.
And then north of us is pretty much open land, not many mountains, so all the weather and the wind and the cold comes straight down towards us.
Поэтому у нас довольно-таки суровые зимы, порядка 4 месяцев в году.
We have a pretty severe winter, about 4 months long.
Температура достигает минус 35 градусов Цельсия.
And we get down to minus 35 Celsius.
Зато летом может быть 35 градусов жары.
But then in the summer we can have 39 Celsius, which is very hot.
Большое отличие в природных условиях правого берега реки Волги и левого берега. Правый берег лесистый район и более высокий. Он называется Приморская возвышенность.
The right side of the Volga is more forested, it's higher.
А левый берег степной район,
And the left side is
ровный,
the steppe, which is,
носит название Саратовский сыр. Но во многом наши природные условия определяются и бассейном реки Волги.
And also a lot of our natural conditions are determined by the Volga.
Особенно после того, как стали строиться водохранилища, связанные с гидроэлектростанциями Саратовской и Волгоградской. Если раньше, нет, я сейчас все закончу, хорошо. Если раньше климат Саратовской области был континентальный, то сейчас он больше подходит к морскому, поскольку два больших водоема. Самая важная проблема, которую могут, при решении которой могут помочь школьники, Это проблема малых рек Саратовской области.
And also a problem which students are involved is the problem of the small rivers in Saratov region.
Те, которые принадлежат бассейну реки Дона, это Медведица и Копер. Два притока.
Medveditsa are two tributaries to the Don River.
И степные реки, которые впадают в Волгу,
And then on the steppe side, the rivers are tributaries to the Volga.
находятся на левой стороне.
Well, beginners, it's not many years that they have been studying English, so sometimes it is difficult for them to speak, sometimes it is difficult for them to understand, so I have compassion for them. Well, and now, some words about the project which is carried by our lyceum. Now, you know something about the teachers who are working here, about the students who are studying here, and now some words about the project. It is called Live Water. Well, Tatiana Olegovna is the leader of this project. Well, chemistry teacher. Well, now, if you have some questions after everything, you will ask them. Please, we begin.
Yes, as you know, we are taking part in this project. But even before we are taking part in this project, the tourist club has been organized in our lyceum. And here you can see the members of our club and the teachers and the students of our lyceum side by side, driven by one desire to enjoy the beauty of our nature, are making some important trips along the rivers of our region. But beginning from 1994, the trips of our ecological club acquire some new character, and namely that of the ecological surveys. And targets of these surveys are twofold. On one hand, we are trying to draw attention to the problems of our environment and realizing the prospects of sustainable development. And on the other hand, our teachers trying to teach the children the practical ways of caring about the nature. And our teachers are trying to help us to get the insurance from the scientific research and discovery. The members of our club visited the state of the rivers. Here, on this map, you can see that these rivers, they are Medveditsa, here, Tereshka, Saretka, and Cherdyn, and the smallest river, Trabulat, which is situated near here. And there, we made some hydrological surveys, but besides, we are greatly interested in the problem of interaction of man with nature, and we are interested both in the influence of people and their activities on nature, and the positive influence of the environment on the life and work of people.
On this conference,
reality, this is reduced to the following tools: speedometer, envelope, forward maximum measurements, viscosity, indicators, and some chemical reaction solutions. We watched the fish farm working. Farmers told us how we improve the ecological state of the ponds, which is necessary to breed fish. The audience greeted our report roundly. They liked it and asked us many questions. During our stay in England, we took part in the workshops. We went to the park and to the zoo, and we learned what kind of animals live in our earth, how to plant trees, how to make also branches, and how to make different things from waste. And we also had a space which was Moscow. We were discussing ecological problems. And now we would like to watch a little video about children's conference on the environment in England.
Short video.
World leaders will get a stern message to do more to save the environment. Yes, it will come from the people who our duty is inherited.
Hundreds of children from around the world have gathered in Eastbourne for a conference on the environment.
History in the making with the first ever children's conference on the environment.
Children from all over the world have gathered at Eastbourne for an international conference on the environment. The idea of Debbie Simmons, a 12-year-old who felt children weren't given a fair hearing at the Earth Summit in Rio.
It all started at Priscilla's Park Zoo near Eastbourne 3 years ago, when thousands of miles away in Rio, political leaders were attending the Earth Summit.
Well, and just 2 years ago, we were invited to take part in the writing of this book. This book was issued to the 50th anniversary of the UN, this book. And for this book, we painted some pictures, we draw some pictures, and we wrote some poems. Well, for this book, one picture was adopted by our girl. It is here. Now you can see it. It is very beautiful. You can watch it. So, after returning from the conference, we joined one more project. It is called Rescue Mission Project. Rescue Mission Project, Planet Earth. Rescue Mission. Well, and now my students will inform you about this project. So, please.
Rescue Mission Planet Earth is a unique international youth organization. It was launched after a great meeting in Rio. In 1992, politicians, decision makers, and ecologists met in Rio to discuss the problems of our time. As a result, the program was adopted. Its name is Agenda 21. It defines the prospects of our development and improvement. Among the problems they discussed were quality of life, environment, sport and education, traffic, wildlife, human rights. These are the problems that concern everyone.
We know that if both human and ecosystems are good, life is sustainable. Whether that is bad, it is not. Sustainable development is the defining concept of the 21st century.
Математический кружок состоится в кабинете номер 11.
Sustainable development is whether or not your community, your region, nation, planet is developing and improving in a way that can be continued forever and ever. You have air, water, wildlife, jobs, schools. Are they sustainable? Are there going to be jobs when I'm grown up? Are there going to be schools for our children? Will our children see flowers which grow now? Shall we be able to drink fresh water? Very difficult questions, aren't they?
But how do we know if we are consuming too much and not taking care of the environment? How do we know whether we are improving or not? Young people should know about what is going on and understand the prospects. For this rescue mission was launched. It started in 1995 by young people and for young people. Children from 120 countries are working together to promote the idea of sustainability. Rescue mission invites people to think globally and to act locally, to make differences in the place they live in. And for this, the indicator track was issued. Its monitor is an indicator of temperature. The size of smoke in the air is an indicator of that something is burning. Lighting in the sky is an indicator of coming thunderstorm. Accounts are an indicator of how your business is going. Exam results tell how well you have done your homework, and a smile is an indicator that you are happy.
A great many questions were asked, and indicators from all over the world should answer them using their life experience and making some measurements and interviewing their parents, teachers, and friends and other people. Besides, we were invited to draw pictures, to write poems, and even songs.
Just minutes. Natasha, we will recite a poem. This poem was written especially for this project by a girl from Norway. So, Natasha will recite it.
Nadine, every day children and grown-ups die from hunger and thirst. Does it matter? We say while we vomit to stay clean. Every day people are shot and killed in war. Does it matter? We say while shooting each other with our toy guns. Every day animals are killed for science. Does it matter? We say while we smear lipstick on our mouth to look beautiful. Every day those in there gets thinner. Does it matter? We say while spraying ourselves with deodorant and perfume. Every day the trees are chopped down in the rainforests. Does it matter? We say while tossing out paper we just used. Every day there are children unable to get education. Does it matter? We say while claiming to have a sore throat in order to skip school. Every day it seems to be a little less of this road. Does it matter? Thank you.
Very impressive one.
Well, I think that is all we wanted to inform you about. And now, please, if you have got some questions, and if you have got any questions, please feel free to ask and to answer.
Are these programs personal programs made by each school?
Well, both for schools and personal. Well, they have passports. These girls who were in England, they have special passports for this program. If no questions, so maybe we take a picture of the whole group. Well, sit down closer to each other. Tatiana.